What's up, everybody? Rock and Roll James, right here on the Rock and Roll James Show on YouTube. And my guest today is Joe Luna, also known as Juni Moon.
Cheers. My bands, we were always wanting to do the original thing. We wanted to do our thing, and so we would write songs and stuff. In fact, that's why we left the Valley, and moved to LA, because we wanted to do originals. We didn't want to do covers. And I'd gotten tired of doing the same old, well, it was only 2 years, I think. But
tell me about that, because, taking off to, making a big step, taking off to Los Angeles, for example, from South Texas, which is thousands of miles, by yourself is, that could be pretty easy. But when you want to take a whole band with you, a whole group, how did you all do that?
We did it in 2 steps.
And what year was this?
We left in 1983.
83.
Yeah.
And who were the members that decided to
Benny
take that?
Witt on drums.
Okay.
And he was too young to leave, but we thought he was going to be leaving with us, and we made all these plans. And then coming close to the date that we were going to head out, his mom stepped in and said, "You're not taking Benny. He needs to finish high school." So, you got to remember, we were all very young, and Benny was the youngest. But
and in 1983 in Los Angeles, the Sunset Strip was just like, man, that's where it was. You had bands like Rat, London's, Skid Row. You also had bands like Faster Pussycat and LA Guns. That was the place to go if you wanted to try to crack into the music business.
We would read Hit Parader magazine. Yeah. I was a big fan of Hit Parader, and I would read these stories about these bands, and you would always read things like, we did whatever we had to, man, to get to LA, and
get to the Whiskey a Go-Go, get to all the other Gazaris, all these well-known,
the Sunset,
historic,
the on Sunset.
Yeah, where Van Halen and Jim Morrison and all those guys played. That was the goal for many bands. They had to get out of here, and you guys took that big step, man. That was happening in 1983. Thus, the reason why these guys decided to move west.
Yeah, because there was nothing for a metal band here, and we were metal. We were metal. We were listening to Raven, and Metallica had just also started to hit the scene, and that's the kind of music we wanted to play, and we were writing originals in that genre.
Benny Witt, his mom
said no,
yeah.
But we were already. I was leaving no matter what, and I'm the one that told the guys one night at practice. I said, "I'm not staying here anymore, man. If you guys want to come with me, come with me. I have an uncle in Fresno. Let's just go, and because I'm going. If you guys want to go, stick with me. Let's do this." And that's how we did it. It's like I said it, and the guys, they said, "We're gonna go with you."
So who were the core members that went? It was you.
Carlos was still with me.
Who was the drummer, right?
No, Carlos was the lead guitar player.
Lead guitar player. Okay, so it was you and Carlos.
And then it was Danny on bass.
Danny Alvarado.
And then from Rio Hondo, Ron Gamsby. That dude, if you ever heard of a band called Raven, maybe? Raven, metal band. He was a big Raven fan. And Saxon. He loved Saxon. And he brought that. After Ronnie Rieger, I forget exactly what happened. I believe that we just kind of outgrew, because he was more rock and roll. His voice was more towards that. And again, Carlos is a guy that came up with the name Steel Heart, by the way. Let's not pass that up.
So the Rio Hondo guy, what was he playing?
Singing.
He was singing.
He was a singer.
So then you all got a bus ticket, or
no,
all got in a car and took off, or what?
So Carlos and I, the only way we could do it was if we left all our gear behind, our Marshall stacks, and we had the money for me and Carlos to move. So Carlos and I headed out to Fresno, and we stayed with my uncle, waiting for looking for a drummer. When we got there, we started looking for a drummer. We'd go to the music store, and we found a guy named Tony O. Tony O's famous. He wound up playing with a lot of big bands out there in L.A. We moved to L.A. with Tony O, and then things didn't go, and Tony O wound up playing with these big bands. But anyway, so we got there, and then Ronnie joined us, and then we went from Fresno, and we moved to L.A. And with Ronnie on board and Tony O, we got a rehearsal studio that you're not supposed to stay after a certain hour. You know, you're supposed to practice, you're paying to practice, and then you go home. But we didn't have a home. So we would pretend we would leave, and then we would jam the door, the back door, and come back in and go and sleep and party in our studio.
Wow.
So we were practicing in this studio, man, and then we knew we had something because when we would practice at our door, there would be musicians from other bands that were practicing in the same studio. They'd be hanging out listening to us. And these bands, you know, they're LA bands. Some of them, you know, had been gigging in LA, and they were well known. I can't right now, off the top of my head, I can't remember. But there was a couple of bands that were like really big there in LA, local. They would play all around Orange County, like Anaheim and LA, and then, you know, and they were into us, man. They asked us to hang out, and we became friends. And there was a band called Enticer. When we moved in and we started practicing, I remember we listened to Enticer. We were like in the hallway or whatever, listening to Enticer, and they had this sound, you know, like they had a good rock and hard rock sound, you know. I can't describe what it was, but it wasn't metal like us. And Ron Gansby had this high pitched voice, and he would use it, you know, in our songs, in like the choruses, or, you know, that's what Ronnie was really known for, his screaming voice, you know. And our songs were fast. We had a song called Star Child, and we had, anyway, I remember Star Child because Ronnie just went off on that song, and it had some really cool guitar parts and stuff. Anyway, so we checked out Enticer, and then we'd go practice. And a month later, I didn't mean to say a month later, I remember again listening to Enticer, and they sounded so much like us. They were trying to
emulate,
what we were doing, and so that again, that reinforced we're onto something, man. They're, you know, these bands are listening to us. This band is trying to imitate us, you know. So the next step was, okay, we're ready to gig. Let's start getting gigs, and we wound up our very first show. We wound up opening for a tribute band, an Alice Cooper tribute band, and this Alice Cooper tribute band, they went all out. They had all the gimmicks, man. And they played the songs to a T, and Alice Cooper looked like Alice Cooper, sounded like Alice Cooper, got his head chopped off like Alice Cooper, had a boa snake. The place was packed, and Steelheart got to open for this tribute band. And
was it at a local bar there in L.A.? Or was
no,
it
they had rented a hall.
Okay.
So we had like a green room. Well,
how did you guys get that gig?
I think they're at the studio. A lot of our gigs we got from the studio because, you know, the other bands and stuff, they'd put up flyers.
How long did that L.A. Situation last for you guys, and what was the end result of it?
We took it. We played a lot of venues. We wound up playing some of the more well-renowned venues, like in Orange County, Jezebel's and Goodies.
Because the whole idea about going to Los Angeles back in the day was to get signed, you know, or get a label to get some interest in you.
So we had a lot of work to do, guys. And that's the thing. As a band, if you're 3 members, 4 members, 5 members, whatever, all of you have to kind of like be on the same page and strive towards the same thing. And the band is only going to be as strong as its weakest member. You know, I mean, I've been playing music now for a long time, and that's the most important thing, man. Everybody's got to do their part, you know, and it's a lot of work. And I'm not just saying learn your part and play your part and get on stage, and whether you're not feeling good or whatever, you got to still put out 100%. Why? Because those people that came to see you, you want them to become your cheerleaders. You want them to go home and say, hey, this band kicks ass. I saw them play. You guys need to come and check them out. But if you're going to get up there and you're selling a product, you know, basically from stage, and you're not going to do your product justice, you're not going to get anybody talking about you. In fact, the worst thing that could happen is that, you know, they don't talk about you, or they talk negatively about you, and word travels fast. What happened with me and my bands is that our bands just couldn't stay together for whatever reason. You know, that version of Steelheart, when we moved to LA, we had it was obvious to me we had what it took, and people were turning and noticing, and we were heading that way. But unfortunately, the band broke up, and so here you go. You have to start all over. And I know that everyone knows that when you have a band and it's working and you're kicking ass and it's coming together, and then you lose a member and you have to start all over, it's not the same. You lose something. You know, you lose something. It could be...
It's chemistry.
Yeah. Thank you. It's chemistry. Yeah. So that was the band that if I was going to make it in any band, that would have been it. But unfortunately, that band broke up, and then I had to just continue on. And I learned something about myself back in those days, because I slept in an alley in a freaking delivery truck that was up on blocks next to a furniture store, because I didn't have anywhere to go. But I wasn't coming back to the valley.
You were essentially homeless over there.
I was going to stay. Yeah, a homeless guy with a freaking 100-watt Marshall stack. Yeah. But I learned something about myself. I was like, I'm sleeping in a freaking truck tonight. And I opened the glove box, and there's a razor in there and a toothbrush. And I go, crap, not only am I sleeping in a freaking truck, I'm sleeping in somebody's apartment. Yeah. Somebody's house. This is somebody's house, you know. So I locked the doors. Anyway, I crashed out there, and I realized, man, I love this. I love music so much. I love playing, that this is what I'll do. This is what I'll do. And so I knew right then, and this is, we're talking freaking 45 years ago.
1985, 84.
Yeah. I knew that I was going to be doing this the rest of my life, whether I made it big in a band or not. You know, I was going to be rocking, playing music all my life, and I was always going to be playing rock and roll. I just knew it. Right then, I said, if I'm doing this, then I know I'm going to be doing this till the day I die. And here I am, man. I'm going to be celebrating my 55th birthday in August, and I'm still doing the rock and roll thing. I'm having a blast right now because I put out, if you go to reverbnation.com/Juni Moon, you can listen to the newest songs that I've put together. And I'm playing in Dallas. That's like my home base. I've got a killer band. We're doing a little side thing. It's called the Juni Moon HENDRIX Tribute. So we've got gigs coming up. We're playing all over in Dallas. All the Gas Monkey, all the cool venues.
You're having fun, man.
That's what I'm doing. I'm still doing it, and I learned, and I knew. Just one night, I realized I'm going to be doing this the rest of my life. I know it, and here I am. I'm still doing it. And I love it, and I mean, I still get, when I hear a great song, I get goosebumps. Yeah. I still enjoy everything about it, man. I mean, kind of cut back on all this, and out of respect for my wife, I'm not gonna mention, all the sex and stuff. But yeah, rock and roll.